Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bob with Bob's Leatherworks in Raleigh, North Carolina. And what I have here for you today is a understated rig, I think, but nevertheless rugged and good looking. And this is a high angle cross jaw for right-handed man. He is a repeat customer. He's out in Reno, Nevada, and what he wanted was a holster that would be reminiscent of how John Wayne's holsters looked. No hardware on the on the holster strap, and that was the key thing. As far as belts are concerned, I was just looking at Red River again, which is playing in November of 2014. All of John Wayne's movies are going to run from Veterans Day on, but they started playing them yesterday, which was the 4th. Or no, excuse me, is that correct? 2nd, I'm sorry. Sunday on the 2nd of November, and I caught Red River twice. And it's one of the best movies I think he ever made. And his rig didn't have any stitching on the edges, and he had bullet loops on the back which was sewn on, but his holster was classically plain, simple, no hardware on it, and even his holsters did not have a fast draw cut. Even with Rooster Cogburn and that rig that he wore in a lot of movies, that was suede lined on here, the holsters were simple, high-rise, back tilting over the belt, and in some holsters I've seen there was not even a complete back flap like this one's got. It comes all the way down to the bottom. It stopped right where the holster strap would have connected through, and it was abbreviated. So his holsters were really very plain, very simple, just to carry the gun. If you look in the shootist, you'll see that there are new versions of the same holster. He was probably at that point way too big to even be able to put on his Rio Bravo holster, and that wouldn't have fit with the movie. So here you go. So I'm going to start turning this a little bit. And the other thing about it is that, let me get over to this side. This belt billet is a very simple, plain design. And if you again look at some of the early Western rigs, the ones in the Hollywood 50s, 60s movies, there's no stitching on here because it's one solid thick piece of leather. On the other hand, I use two, so I line everything. I line the belt billets, I line the buckle connector, and then there's two pieces of leather glued together, so I reinforce that with sewing, which gives it, a very finished look. Same thing with the gun belt. This is 2 layers of leather. It could be one, of course, and then there's suede glued back on here, and then that last thing that I do is I sew the edges. So here's the sewing for where the belt connector comes through. Excuse me. And in this type of a buckle connector, you can take off, put on another buckle, but as I've said in earlier videos, if you decide that you want to put on a longer trophy buckle that's going to stick out here, you're going to add another 1 to 2 inches, depending upon the buckle, to the length of your gun belt. That trophy buckle will start out here and move out off onto the end or the edge of where the belt stops. Okay, get tongue-tied making videos. Now, let me explain a little more in detail about how I make hammer thongs. This one, okay, like the ones I've been putting out, and the last rigs I've been making, is a piece of latigo leather. And first thing I do is tie this knot right here, push it through the appropriate place where the hole through the holster will go. In this case, on over the belt's cross jaws, it's right over the edge where the belt is coming through. So there's a loop here, and this is the pull, and goes over the hammer, and then you're going to reach down in here and just snug it up. And the belt will not be in the way, they will not be in the way of each other, and it'll just ride right up in front. I usually make them long, and then you can cut them off to where it's comfortable for you. And here, this one, I cut this one off because I just took some pictures of it, so I wanted it to look good. So this is about as much as you're going to need. And if you look at the style and the way it's made, and if it wears out over time, you can recreate it again. Of course, you may not even want a hammer thong on here, but it's a good thing to have in case you get upside down, someone sneaks up behind you and is playing games and wants to pull the gun out of the holster. This will keep it in there. Or if you're bouncing around on a horse or an ATV, good thing to have a hammer thong on here. Now I got 25 .357 rounds onto this belt. Now he will, again, the man who bought this rig, he told me that he's saving up or whatever it is, and eventually he's going to get another holster, which I'll be able to match for this one here, the cross jaw, which will go on this area, a strong hand holster. He is right-handed. Okay. Now, since we are at a good spot where it's already laying there, here's the back of this holster. On cross jaws, you ordinarily would not have a leg tie. It's just too high up. This is a good 20 degrees of high angle cross jaw. So you just get or I'm just putting on a short piece with a square knot. Here are his initials, MM. There's my stamp. This is the back of the sewing for the slide ledge that's on here that keeps this holster firmly in place. The belt cannot go farther down, and it certainly can't rise up. And these are stabilization pieces that are part of the pattern and how the holster is made. Rather than just come straight up here and even here, this is going to snug onto your body and make the holster not be able to twist. Okay. If you look on the back of Kevin Costner's holder, an open range holster and gun belt is what I'm trying to say, you will see a rivet just like this one, where the man who made his gun belt rig laced in his bullet loops, and there's a rivet right there. So that's how this is done. Each one of these is a punched hole, 3/4 inches, and then this gets laced through, and then the second piece of leather is what's glued onto the back of it. And then once you get the suede, or once I get the suede put on, okay, then you really don't see much of a rise from how that piece of leather is lacing through. It flattens out very well. So let me grab onto the front end of this thing and bring it around, and just twisting it back into shape. Okay, so not good. Better. There we go. So if you want a high angle cross jaw for your handgun, your Western frame gun, okay, there it is. This is, again, you've seen this gun before. This is my Uberti Colt Peacemaker clone. Getting a lot of use. Starting to lose some of the bluing from all the holsters I've made with it. But to me, that just gives it character. Cocks up real fast with the easier hammer spring that I had put in it, so she flies when she gets cocked up. 4 5/8. This is a 45. His is a 357, and he has a Colt. And the finish on this holster is a combination of 3 different leather dyes: a dark brown, a light brown, and some saddle tan. And it gives it a real cinnamon color. And it's finished with kiwi neutral wax shoe polish. And it just, and when the leather gets involved in how it absorbs the dye, because everything is immersed in dye, and then it dries, I wipe it out with water, get all the excess surface dye that dried on it off, and then I go back over it with this kiwi neutral wax shoe polish, and it gives you a good measure of waterproofing, gives you a mellow gloss, and it's easy for you to renew. So there it is. It has a real nice antique look about it. And this is a little thinner than I usually make rigs, or I think I'm going to start making them more like this, because out of the box, they're, to use an expression out of the box, they're a little more flexible, do not require a great deal of break-in time for the leather to soften up. So when you get it, it'll just fit right onto you comfortably. This is a size 48 rig, meaning that from the tip of the buckle to the center hole on the belt billet is 48. So there's your 5-inch overlap right here, which goes through the Ranger belt closure, and that's what this is. So when you call me and we talk on the phone and you want an overlapping rather than a Clint Eastwood type of a belt, that's what this is. I won't put this through there because I don't want to mark this unnecessarily. But this is a 48 right to there. So let's put the gun back in the holster. There you go. Alright. Hammer thong back on. Snug it up. Right. And there it is. Alright, got a new battery for my remote controller, so I don't have to reach around the camera. So, and by the way, the bullets that are in here, in case you're curious, one last point, these are 357 Remington, 158 grain, lead round nose, LDRN. And there they are. They're just basic target ammunition, not personal defense ammunition. But they look good in Western rigs because of the lead. So thanks for watching. All the way from Raleigh, North Carolina, this is Bob Marshall. Give me a call. How to order gun belt rigs and anything else you'd like is on the end title of the video. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye bye for now.